In a quiet, unassuming town nestled between rolling hills and dense forests lived a man named David. David was a writer known for his stories about the macabre and the supernatural. Little did he know he was about to become the protagonist of his own chilling tale. David had always been a night owl. He found the silence of the night conducive to his writing. One late autumn evening, as the wind howled outside and the leaves rustled like whispers of the dead, David sat at his desk working on his latest manuscript. The old grandfather clock in the hallway struck midnight, echoing ominously through the empty house. Suddenly a strange feeling washed over him, a sensation of being watched. He paused, listening intently, but the only sound was the ticking of the clock and the occasional creak of the old house settling. Dismissing it as paranoia, he continued typing. Minutes turned into hours. As the clock struck 3, David decided to call it a night. He stood up, stretching his stiff limbs, and glanced out the window. His heart skipped a beat. In the dim light of the street lamp, he saw a shadowy figure standing at the edge of his property, just beyond the reach of the light. David's first instinct was to rationalize it. Maybe it was a trick of the light or a neighbor playing a prank. He shut his laptop and headed upstairs to his bedroom, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling. That night, David dreamt of the shadowy figure. In his dream, the figure was closer, staring at him with hollow eyes. He woke up in a cold sweat. The image burned into his mind. Determined to shake off the nightmare, he got dressed and decided to go for an early morning walk. The town was eerily quiet. As David walked, he couldn't help but glance over his shoulder, feeling as if someone, or something, was following him. He quickened his pace, heading towards the small park at the edge of town. There, sitting on a bench, was the shadowy figure from his dream. David froze. The figure slowly turned its head, revealing a pale, gaunt face with empty eye sockets. It raised a skeletal finger, pointing directly at him. Panic surged through David. He turned and ran, his footsteps echoing in the silent streets. He didn't stop until he reached his house, slamming the door behind him. Breathing heavily, he leaned against the door, trying to calm his racing heart. Days turned into weeks, and the shadowy figure haunted David's every waking moment. He saw it in reflections, in crowds always watching, always waiting. His writing suffered. He became a recluse, afraid to leave his home. One stormy night, as lightning illuminated the sky, David heard a knock at his door. He approached cautiously, peering through the peephole. The shadowy figure stood there, drenched and shivering. Gathering his courage, David opened the door. The figure stepped inside, and David felt a cold, unnatural chill. "Who are you?" he demanded, his voice trembling. The figure's hollow eyes seemed to pierce through him. "I am the Silent Watcher," it whispered, its voice like a death rattle. "I have come to collect what is owed." David's mind raced. "What do you mean?" he asked, stepping back. The Silent Watcher extended a bony hand. "Your stories have summoned me. Each word, each fear has given me life. Now it is time for you to pay the price." Before David could react, the Silent Watcher lunged at him, its icy grip freezing his heart. The last thing David saw was the shadowy figure's hollow eyes, drawing him into an eternal darkness. David's disappearance became another mystery in the quiet town, a cautionary tale for those who dare to delve too deeply into the unknown. The Silent Watcher remains, waiting for its next victim, drawn by the fears we create. Remember, sometimes the stories we tell become all too real.